Support from today's show comes from Incorporate. Incorporate's a site where, surprise, you can incorporate a business. Use the link in the show notes, thebiggamehunter.us/incorporate. And they are a fairly priced firm. After all, if you're starting a business, or you have a friend who's going to start a business, or a member of your family that's starting a business, you got to do it the legal way. Incorporate will do it for you. And with that, we'll be back in just one moment. Happy Friday, and you're listening to No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm the host of this show, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to another episode 2228, the number one podcast and Apple podcast for job search. And I'll simply say, no show has created as many episodes as this one, and I'm looking forward to helping you yet again. By the way, next Friday, I'm on Clubhouse at 11 a.m. Eastern doing a show about winning interviews. So I'm on with Lynn Williams, and I believe it's acing the interview or winning interviews and getting the offer. So look for me there next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Hope to be able to help you with this show, which is one where, people do have names that are not basic American by traditional standards names. And this person wonders whether or not that's the reason they're not going to the next step. Hope you're not running into a problem like this, and I'll be back in just one moment. Today's show is brought to you by Fiverr. Fiverr is a service where, frankly, you can outsource a lot of tasks to someone else and have them do it very inexpensively. If you've ever watched or observed the show notes, not the show notes, but the transcriptions for this show, what you'll see is work that's been done by someone I've hired on Fiverr. I've also had editing for my books done on Fiverr. I've had a variety of different functions done there, and I've done it for years. It saves a lot of time. It's very inexpensive, and I'll just simply say, use the link in the show notes. It helps support the advertiser and lets them know that this show has meaning for you. And with that, we'll be back in just one moment. If you have all the skills required for the job, but can't get an interview, could it be an ethnic-sounding name that is preventing you from going to the next step? That's the question I received. And anything is possible. Here's what's probable. What's probable is, yes, you have, quote unquote, all the experience needed, but not enough of it. For example, when I did search, it was pretty common for me to receive arguments from people that they had all the background for the job, but they had 2 years of it, and the client wanted 9 years. They were a staff person. The client wanted a project manager. That's one example. And that's a pretty typical scenario for job hunters. As for your name, at this point in the United States, depending upon where you are in the country, most people have gotten used to ethnic-sounding names. I'm assuming that your name is not one like Gonzalez or Rivera, which is one that has come into the popular parlance, but it's a longer Asian name or a longer Scandinavian or Russian name that you think people are not familiar with. Surprise, most, if you're in an urban area, are, and even if you're in more rural areas, the country is not always that same white culture that it's characterized as being. By that I mean, people have been coming to the United States for my entire life, and having worked in technology recruiting, it's hard to find the typical white person to do the jobs. People are hired from overseas, or people with family histories that involve being overseas and immigrating to the United States. I'll simply say, rather than focus on the name and using that as an excuse, focus on the skills and demonstrating excellence around that. Because when you say going to the next step, I can't tell if what you mean is getting an interview, invited back. So I'm dealing with this from the standpoint of getting an interview. And I'm telling you, if your writing in the resume is good, if your oral communications are good, the probability is it's not your name that's at issue. It's enough of the skill. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few things I can do to help you with your job search beyond simply being your coach. First of all, I've got a new book out called The Right Answers to Tough Interview Questions. It is like a cookbook with answers to tons of interview questions that you're going to be asked on interviews. And if you pair it up with my other new book, The Ultimate Job Interview Framework, they are a terrific pair of books to help you with interviewing. In addition, I have a new service where you can practice mock interviews. If you go to thebiggamehunter.us/mock, I've got a service there, very inexpensive, like $99, where we have mock interviews set up. I'm going to be adding more to it very soon, but you can record your answers to them, and then I can critique them and help you perform better on them. You probably have noticed my show notes are pretty thorough with products and services that can help you with your search. And connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/thebiggamehunter. Lastly, my website has a ton of great information. That's thebiggamehunter.us. Now, if you're not ready to go there and go through the blog, put the address in your phone, thebiggamehunter.us, Jeff Altman. So this way, when you're ready to go, you have a way of getting back to my website. Hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great!